Welcome to the show. This is Charlton and Big C. Welcome to Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And also Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thanks for following Big C Sports. Also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. I want to say all my good old boys up in Canada. I think I've received less hate mail than Donald Trump, so I do want to try one more time. Whoa, Canada, oh, my native land. Oh, Canada. I mean, I got three verses now, Big C, so that's called an improvement in my world, Big C, but there's still no one I love more than them good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all you good old boys? Yeah.
You know, she's replaced 3 of the female bathrooms and made a men's bathroom for the playoffs, figuring that they had more men's fans in the stands, but
yeah,
it's creating a longer line for the women, which I can feel could create some hostility at home at the end of the game, Charles.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. And you know, today's a beautiful May the 3rd, 2017, and I just want to say so much good going on in the world of sports on Big C Sports iHeart Radio Network. And I just got to bring this up, Big C, because I keep seeing it. I don't know if I'm clairvoyant, or maybe, what was that movie called? Groundhog Day, when that good old boy kept seeing the same things over and over again.
Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. Yeah, I thought it was Groundhog Day this morning, because I was watching a little bit of Sports Channel, and I love watching the brethren on Sports Channel, and I saw they're doing some commercials again. I thought it was just yesterday. So I saw it again. They're doing some commercials with these good old boys in outer space, and guess what they said? NASA has a job called the number one job in the universe is becoming an astronaut to go to Mars, Big C. They don't have to go to Mars to follow Big C Sports. And then one more thing I saw is Big C Sports. I thought it was you on TV again. I said, man, why don't you tell me about your plans? It was ESPN running the Mother Earth spinning around with Sports Center on the side of it, Big C. So I just want to say congratulations to all the plagiarizers out there. But Big C, none other than these good old boys when it comes to baseball. What's going on again with Baltimore? I mean, Baltimore and the Red Sox, they should be showing America's pastime should be a game of class the way it was designed to be. But a lot of these guys, they keep going at each other, throwing the ball at each other. How can we bring that to an end, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, baseball has this unwritten rule, Jonathan, but I don't think anybody could spell at the time when they were writing it.
Yeah.
You know, this thing about retaliation. Now, years ago, back I believe it was in '63 when Juan Marichal went after a catcher with the bat.
Yeah.
He pitched for the Giants. I think it was Rosen that he went after. And you know, that's one of those photographs that stays in the annals of baseball.
Yeah.
Now you think about it. Every pitcher on the mound has a weapon in his hand.
Yeah.
And you know, you think about the number of players whose careers have ended by being hit with a baseball. You know, and you know, getting hit in the eye, getting hit in the jaw, chopping, concussions,
yeah,
various things. Now, you're taking this spear and you're throwing it at somebody. So what if the batter start to retaliate with the bat?
Yeah.
You know, now we end up in a melee that nobody's really going to want.
Right.
Rob Manfred is going to have to step in. I know he has, you know, Tony La Russa in the head office as far as the top police for Major League Baseball, but Rob Manfred has to put a precedent on this. You know, you think about hockey. Some 15, 20 years ago, when a fight would break out before they could even drop the puck.
Yeah.
But, you know, even hockey has cleaned that up. And, you know, for 140 years of hockey, it's always been fighting.
Yeah.
But here in baseball, Charlton, it's something that's a little more dangerous because you have one individual with an object in his hand where he can spear someone else. And that will always lead to fighting. You know, you think about Manny Machado being thrown at by Sales in his first pitch last night.
Yeah.
Threw it behind him. You know, Sales has enough control to know exactly where he wanted to throw the ball. He didn't want to hit him.
Yeah.
But he wanted to send a warning. And then later on, Manny Machado hit a home run that's still flying over the green mountain.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing about that, Charlton, he took 30 seconds to round the base.
Yeah.
Okay, 30 seconds. Now, eventually it's going to get to the point that, and against the Boston Red Sox pitcher, he's going to walk around the base.
Yeah.
Now, what type of animosity is that going to create, Charlton, that he's out there walking and all of the old timers say, well, he's disrespecting the game.
Yeah.
You know, what is respect when you're chasing someone's life, Charlton?
I agree.
When you're threatening somebody with physical harm, even though it's within the arena of the sport.
Yeah.
This is something that just got not be tolerated. And then in his press conference, Machado dropped 20 swear words.
Yeah.
You know, eloquently, though. They were eloquent. You know, I was sitting there, I was smiling and but, you know, he dropped 20 swear words, which left the reporters baffled because they had to figure out a way to clean up what he was saying. You know, wait a minute, when you did the work, you deal with the story.
That's funny. That's funny.
But, you know, this is something that the commissioner is really going to have to step in seriously on, Charlton.
Yeah.
To try to eliminate the chances of injury for the players in Major League Baseball. Not just the Boston Orioles series, but there's so many rivalry series in baseball, Charlton. Baseball is a beautiful game that's played on angles.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's keep the game clean based on the angles.
Well, speaking of keeping the game clean, I want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. So, you know, another thing I want to touch on briefly before we get on to a few more, you know, sports scores on the Big C Sports Show, I do want to say there's some issues that came up. You know, I've been hearing about POTUS and some of the things Donald Trump trying to meet with Vladimir Putin, and there's still this thing about Black Lives Matters, and I think sometimes people say you don't defend someone when they're doing wrong, but if they're aiming the finger at somebody else, you kind of are quiet until they come around to you. Well, we know he slandered the African-American community, calling us thugs and all that jazz. Even Hillary Clinton went that low, Big C. And then he had some good old boys called illegal aliens that they called Mexican-Americans. We know people are human beings, not illegal aliens. They don't say that to Russians who come here undocumented. They kind of hang out at Trump Tower. But I want to bring up something when Black Lives Matter comes up, because it ties into what was happening in the criminal justice system. We look at Riley at Fox News, where he, I think, 17 accusations of a sexual assault, and Fox News paid that man $25 million for sexually assaulting women. I guess to walk away, you would have thought the women would have gotten paid, but he got $25 million. I was just going over some studies today in California. Would you believe, for all them good old boys that believe that racial profiling is over, this is from police officers, that we respect the police, the good ones, not the bad ones, but would you believe as an African-American man, you're more likely to be pulled over 4 times. If you have 4, 1 in those 4 would be pulled over at least 1 time a year by police officers just because of racial profiling. And we're a small segment of the population. Would you believe for Caucasians there's only 1 out of 17 that are pulled over by law enforcement? Can you believe how the discrepancy when the majority population is Caucasian, about 60%, but yet only 1 in 17 would be pulled over within a year by law enforcement? Big C, how's that still going on? Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, it's no different than what we heard about the racial epithets that was tossed out at Boston Garden.
Yeah.
You know, the sport, not Boston Garden, but Fenway Park.
Fenway Park. Yeah.
During the sporting event, 2 nights ago. This is America. This is what America is. It is separate and it is not equal.
Yeah.
And these things will always continue in society. Unfortunately, as long as you have a predominant part of ethnic makeup, they want to make it harder on others. Through whatever means possible. Basically, it has come down to that.
Yeah.
But why can you cheer a black athlete, but a black citizen you want to harass? This is a guy who may have his doctorate, his master's degree, his bachelor, but you still pull him over based on the type of vehicle that he drives.
Yeah.
The way that he has his clothes on. He does not have to be bothering anybody to have this happen, Charlton. For decades, I had that happen to me when I was an athlete. You're driving down the street, driving a certain type of vehicle, you get pulled over.
Yeah.
From some frivolous reason. These things happen all the time. It is never going to go away. When we talk about racial profiling, it's about belittling a culture of people.
Yeah.
To do anything you can to wear them down mentally, hopefully you get that negative reaction. And when that negative reaction comes, Charlton, it's not always a positive one. But why should one predominant race want to inflict this on others? We talk about the land of the free, the home of the brave,
Yeah.
America, okay? Now you think about it, African Americans have fought in every war here in America that they've been allowed to to fight in since the Civil War, Charlton.
Yeah.
Okay? They have not turned their backs on protecting America. But America continuously turns their back on protecting African Americans, Charlton. You think about after World War II, the racialness, the racial divide that African Americans, after coming from the European front, coming back to America, still had to live in.
Yeah.
They go over and lay their lives on the lines for white America, black America, all Americans, Charlton. But when they came back here, they had more racial injustice and fights against them than what they did fighting in the European front, dodging bullets over there. They dodged more bullets in America than they dodged in any war. Vietnam was no different, Charlton. After Vietnam, the doors were not open for the African American soldiers.
Yeah.
They came back into a world of atrocity and racism, just like in the Korean War, Charlton. There has not been open arms and embraces. You even think about even the latest wars in the Middle East, Charlton. There's been no parade for African American soldiers.
No.
They haven't. There's been no victory lap for them. But white soldiers get these things all the time, Charlton. But blacks lay their lives on the line like everybody else. And we get this from law enforcement. When we think about law enforcement, they're not going over fighting a war.
No.
I understand the bravery of their job, but why don't they join the armed forces and go in and fight against somebody who has an opportunity to fight them back?
Well, see, and that's a
different outlook at that point.
well, Big C, that's a great point. You know, we talk about the incident that happened in Boston just this week, and many players have said it's happened to them too. They just didn't say much about it because when you're black, unfortunately, a lot of people don't believe you anyway. They're just going to assume that the people in white skin are going to be telling the truth.
You said that, show us the proof.
Yeah.
The sports reporter said that the black athlete was lying, saying that the rednecks were calling him something.
Yeah.
Racial epithet-wise.
And so that's why I wanted to bring this up, because we talk about calling the police. They're supposed to be able to serve and protect. But even within law enforcement, they're so biased toward the black community in the criminal justice system, and it's going to take the decent law, just like people said, not all Bostonians are bigots or racist, and they're not. There's a lot of good people in Boston, in the Massachusetts, New England area. But for the few bad ones, if you don't shout them out, then you're complicit. If you know of someone doing wrong and you don't shout them out, you're complicit. Dr. King told about that. If we know evil going on anywhere, if we say nothing, then we're complicit. So when people say that, well, they show me the proof, and you have articles in newspapers today all over the country that are saying African Americans are 1 in 4 going to be pulled over within a year by law enforcement, and we're just 13% of the population. White Americans over 60%. They're only pulled over 1 out of 17 times. Now, if you want to cut down on crime, wouldn't you cut down on the people that are the majority of the population? Big C, that's where the crime is, and you would find that out if you pull them over at the same rate of 4 to 1, the same way you do all people in the land of the free and the home of the brave. That ties in directly with what happened in Boston, Big C. Do you see how the dialogue with police officers and sports is all the same? You're not given the benefit of the doubt when you're black American. Even the kid drafted by the Raiders from Ohio State, they're talking about holding up his salary, where we know that not Rush Limbaugh, but O'Reilly got $25 million, and Donald Trump became president, even though they brag about assaulting women, Big C. How do we take law enforcement and have them speak out against the bad ones, whether it's in sports or whether it's driving your Hummer or your Big C, whatever that car, the Cadillac is, down the street? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you look at these law enforcement profiling athletes, Charlton,
yeah,
and they're big on profiling athletes, you see this all the time.
Yeah.
That, these young millionaires, there's an air of envy, when you look at it. How does he get to have all this and I got to go to work every day?
Yeah.
Well, ironically, that athlete does go to work every day, Charlton. He works in his chosen craft.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you in law enforcement work at your chosen craft. We're not knocking anybody, but, there's no one in law enforcement who is sitting there targeting someone on Wall Street, Charlton. They don't do that. That financial district, they don't go down there and pull over people.
No.
Making illegal turns on the street, changing lanes without turning on signals, Charlton.
Yeah.
Dashing across an intersection on a red light. They're not pulling them over and writing a ticket for jaywalking.
Yeah.
It's about where someone lives and about what they're wearing, Charlton. So this profile game that society is bought into. And like I said, a lot of young athletes fall into that because they're living their generation. They're not living the generation of an Oscar Robertson, a Jim Brown, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
But there was a different, era as far as how you appeared in public.
Yeah.
This is that modern day swag that they all have. And you can't knock these young men for wearing what they want to wear.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Because they do, and as they had concentrated on the use of marijuana, Charlton, in America. Now, marijuana is an herb, a natural herb from Mother Earth. You know, this heroin is something that's produced. It is killing more white Americans than anything else on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It is kept quiet, Charlton, because it's an embarrassment, okay?
Yeah.
And it's mainly upper middle class white Americans that is killing. It's killing kids and it's killing parents, Charlton. But white America does not want this embarrassment out there every day. They would rather lock up an African American for a 3-strike rule on some marijuana than rather harming anybody versus the 276 white Americans that are dying daily from the use of heroin.
And Big C, that's a very good point, and I gotta bring that up because just as I heard, you know, we're part of the media, and this is what we talk about, calling people out if they do wrong. The people that run that Boston radio station that were saying, well, show us the proof. Okay, it throws me back to the 25th year anniversary of the Rodney King incident, where he was beaten, I think, by 12 police officers, and he was on the ground. They had a noose around his neck. They were tasering him. They were beating him with billy clubs. They did everything but shoot him. And then the officers all lied in their official report. They lied to the judge and said that they were in fear of their lives. They had no idea that somebody was recording it. So when them good old boys in Boston say, show me the proof, maybe that's what we have to have. But why would they have to show you the proof when we saw what happened with the law enforcement, even out in Los Angeles? I just think it's still an issue. I want to talk about it because it may take the sports business to bring it to a head.
When he lost his life in New York.
Yeah.
You talk about showing the proof.
Yeah.
You watch these 6 officers choking this man out.
Yeah.
He's bleeding for his life. I can't breathe. They did not care, Charlton.
Yeah.
They didn't. You know, the young man in Chicago back in 2015 that was walking across the bridge, and the officer said that they were in fear of their lives, and he was some 40 to 50 feet away from them, moving in the opposite direction. They shot him 16 times anyway.
Yeah.
You know, the young man in South Carolina last year, Charlton, that was running from the police. Yes, he was running. Maybe he shouldn't have, but the police officer tased him. He was some 40 feet away, and he got shot 8
In the back, I saw that.
The police officer picked up the taser, dropped it
And
into
dropped
his
it.
body, saying that he was going after the taser, Charlton. This is an on and on of multiple events.
Yeah.
But what's ironic about it, even the young man in Oklahoma last year in Tulsa, there was 2 incidents, one in Oklahoma City, one in Tulsa, where a police officer shot a young man that was being restrained by 3 police officers down on the ground, and then we had another one in Tulsa where the officer shot a man that was leaning up against his car.
Yeah.
Saying that she was in fear of his life. She was 20 feet away, but she was in fear of her life.
Well,
You know, these are the incidents that have, you know, white society has grown insensitive to, because they said, well, they wouldn't have shot him if he wasn't doing something wrong. Even though you're sitting there and you're looking at this man, Charlton, and he's not doing anything. You know, like last night, Patrick Roy, you know, former player, NBA player, was shot in the leg last night in Los Angeles, defending children.
Wow.
Okay, from gang shootings. You know, he won't get an accommodation, Charlton. He shot in the leg. He's going to recover. He's a former NBA player. But, you know, these are the things that you go through in society. If he was a white man, Charlton, former athlete, he'd have been hailed a hero.
Yeah.
You know, getting a call from the president.
Well, see,
saying, you know, how proud he was of him.
And-
But he's an African American protecting young kids that now, Charlton, are going to have a chance to go to school the next day.
and Big C, that's
Have
true.
a chance to graduate.
Yeah,
Have
that's
a chance to have children of their own because he was shielding and protecting them.
yeah.
Is he a hero? Yes. Is he looked at a hero by white society? No.
Well, Big C, that's very true, and I think the sports world can bring a lot of things together. When our society is a little bit fractured because of what's going on in the White House, and you know how many times Congress and the FBI and the CIA have told Donald Trump that he's a liar when he calls so many things about President Obama and whatever you want to think of, he's done it. And they say, show me the proof. He hasn't shown anybody any proof, Big C. But I just want to keep that in mind. If you're African American, just be calm, because studies show that you'll get pulled over 1 out of 4 times. For Caucasians, only 1 out of 17 times. And they still don't believe that we have a race problem in the United States of America. But Big C Sports is worldwide, and people just need to know. And I just want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation of this billion-dollar industry. When you need insurance, get it through Ben and Mark on Big C Sports. They've been around half a century, and we get you covered all over the country. We're in all 50 states. Plus, we can do athletic and event insurance internationally. Big C, I want to come back to some of the things in the world of sports. Just jumping across to Boston, we'll stay in Boston. Isaiah Thomas, what a great game last night. I know he was thinking about his sister that passed, and he played in honor of her as opposed to just mourning. He actually had played in honor of a very difficult thing to go through, had surgery to have that tooth replaced. And if anything would have been any more poetic was to have that great former broadcaster, Johnny Most, I believe, that good old boy from back in the day, that said, Larry Bird stole the ball, the Boston Celtics take the lead, when they were taking on, I think, the Detroit Pistons. I can't say it the way he said it, but that's the only thing that was missing from a historic moment by Isaiah Thomas. Big C, your thoughts?
Johnson, when you think about what Isaiah Thomas has endured, yesterday would have been his sister's birthday.
Yeah.
The one that just passed. But, here's a man that a couple nights ago had to endure 6 hours of surgery that would have put you or I out for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
The next day.
Yeah.
He flew back across the country, got in after midnight, after sister's service, and was at work the next day. When you talk about leadership and character, and that's the one thing that I get heard so often when we question African-American athletes about their character, about their leadership ability. You never hear that about white athletes that automatically, I guess, supposed to have it.
Yeah.
But, when you look at what Isaiah Thomas has done, what he's endured, how he's put these Celtics on his back, Charlton, 6 consecutive games, and last night scoring the 53 points, against the Washington.
Amazing.
Wall had 44.
Yeah, amazing.
But, you think about what he has done, lifting the Celtics, going into the record book. He scored 98 points in the last 2 games for Boston. But he passed the great John Havlicek as far as a, single game record. And when you talk about Johnny Most called all those games, Charlton.
Yeah.
Havlicek, Hondo, played at Ohio State. One of the great players in Big Ten history, the NBA Hall of Famer, one of the top 50 players all time in NBA history, and won a couple championships with the Celtics, even started his career with the great Bill Russell.
Yeah.
But, when you think about what Isaiah Thomas has done, everybody is challenged his diminutive stature, being only 5'9". Now, he reminds me of Nate Archibald, who used to play with the Celtics. Tiny Nate, war number 1, left-handed point guard also. He's a better scorer than Nate. Nate had a team around him that won championships, so
Yeah.
he knew how to play, just like Thomas does, who has elevated his game, Charlton, and his character stature beyond the rafters, okay?
Yeah.
This is what he's done, and, if anybody wants to look up to an athlete as an inspirational person, you have to look no further than Isaiah Thomas, because what he has done, Charlton, is unmanly, ungodly.
Yeah.
Because he has stepped into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Of emotion and athleticism. That night after night, he elevates his game. You think about some players who plateau, and people thought that the playoffs would be dead after Russell Westbrook was gone.
Yeah.
The great guard play would be gone, but Isaiah Thomas has stepped in where Russell Westbrook left off.
Yeah, I agree.
He's gone to the next level, Charlton, because what he has done in these last 2 playoff series is just unfathomable. You think about the last time that a diminutive point guard dominated like Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
I'll take you back to Allen Iverson.
Oh, the truth.
Okay. Allen Iverson is the last under 6-foot point guard to score 50 points in a playoff game.
Wow.
And AI just dominated people, just like we see what Thomas is doing, Charlton. This man right now, if you talk about a playoff MVP, he is right there in the conversation.
Well,
regardless of how far Boston goes, he's right there in the conversation.
Well, Big C, I'm going to come up with a new award since everybody's stealing from us anyway. I'm going to say Isaiah Thomas, he's the #1 sports player in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. Isaiah Thomas gets my most valuable universal player, the most valuable player in the universe from Big C Sports, because he sure played like it, and our thoughts go out to he and his family. But speaking about honoring and going through pain, what a great way to show your respect for someone that's passed on than to be excellent, than to be great at what you're doing. He dominated his day. He dominated the game. And we all can take message from that forever. We're all going to have good and bad times in life. But what a great message to leave to the young people. Honor people by dominating what you do. So just congratulations to Isaiah again. Big C, as we swing that pass all the way across the coast from the East Coast to the West Coast, them good old boys up in Oakland there last night at Oracle Arena. What an electric atmosphere. That game was close until tip-off, Big C, and the Warriors ran away with it. What did you see last night watching Golden State put Utah back in their place, Big C?
that well. They won the game, they dominated the game, but they didn't play that well.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of room for improvement with Golden State. You know, and Rudy Gobert is still trying to find his jockey.
Yeah, he might have to find it with the guy that found Tom Brady's jersey, Big C. That's what that jockey is.
But you know, when you think about it, this is a 7-foot man that's trying to guard a guard that's 6'2".
Yeah.
But he does that against people his own size. So it's not an embarrassment to Rudy Gobert. It was funny, you know, him trying to cover it. Is that team, Charlton, that everybody said why they have to keep playing these games.
Yeah.
You know, why can't we just get to the finals?
Yeah.
You know, but this is a team that, you know, we talked about having a duplicate record of what they had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they made quick work of Utah last night, just as all your friends in Las Vegas.
Hey, they're not my friends, Big C. I just owe a couple guys some money, but after this series is over, I think I'll be free and clear of Big C. No more debt after this series is over, if it goes to 5, okay? That's what it's hinging on. Come on, Las Vegas and Golden State. But Big C, I also want to just touch on a few things with the Golden State and how, you know, just our thoughts go out to Coach Kerr. We really don't know what's going on with Kerr, but we know he did have that back surgery, and he's been kind of, you know, absent from the arena. So don't know what's going on. Hopefully he'll be covered fully from that. But I do want to get your thoughts on some other playoff action in the NHL. We're looking at the NHL and Pittsburgh. You know, no Sidney Crosby for this game. Your thoughts on the NHL and the chasing of the Lord Stanley's Cup, Big C?
That's hockey, you know. We see that game as barbaric as any sport there is. But, you know, this is also a game shifting momentum.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about hockey, it goes in waves just like the line play that you have.
Yeah.
And so without Sidney Crosby, the best player in the world in hockey, you know, now Pittsburgh has to make some adjustments. And you know, Washington should be motivated, you know, to ease up this series 2-2, because if Washington falls behind 3-1,
yeah,
without Sidney in the lineup, Jonathan, this is a team that, you know, just like we talk about with the LA Clippers, they're going to have to disband this team and try to start all over anew and figure out what to do. But, you know, the NHL has had some exciting playoff games.
Yeah.
We've had some overtime games, a lot of one-goal games. But, you know, hockey, you know, it's just that sport. It's so fast, it's so electrifying that you have to stay glued to the tube and not miss anything, Joe.
Well, Big C, talking about being glued to the tube here in Oakland, California last night, just so much going on in the world of sports. You know how we talked about each franchise from the A's, the Raiders, and the Warriors, they've won a championship in that quarter square mile area over in Oakland off of Interstate 880 near Hagenberger. And the fact that Golden State will be in San Francisco in 2 more seasons, and it looks like the A's are going to be there for some time, but the Raiders are going to be in Las Vegas in 2 years. I just think about how much greatness has come from the Oakland area. And now I contrast that to Boston, and we'll touch a little bit on the Houston and San Antonio. But look at how many great teams are in Boston. From the Patriots, they've won championships. The Celtics have won championships. You have the Bruins, they've won championships. I look at what's happened in that city. I could not imagine New England going to Las Vegas. I could not imagine the Celtics leaving, and maybe, I mean, they didn't go out of the state, Golden State, but they are going across the bay. But just contrast the 2 great historic cities and championships. One has people leaving. You can't find an older stadium than Fenway Park, and they decided that's not antiquated so much they can't stay there. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you know, one of the 2 historic stadiums in Major League Baseball, Charlton, you're talking about Wrigley Field in Chicago and Fenway Park in Boston. It only holds 35,000, 38,000 fans, Charlton, back to the rafters every night.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you talk about iconic history of organizations, you know, organizations stay with it in their fan base.
Yeah.
They're not always looking for the bigger dollar, you know. You think about the Boston Garden forever. Hills sitting next to a train track.
Yeah.
You know, rats all over the place.
Yeah.
Until they built TD Garden. But those fans pack the facility every night, Charlton. You think about the Boston Patriots, which is what they were originally. They played in Fenway Park.
Yeah.
You know, they played on the smallest crowds, 30,000, before moving to Foxborough.
Yeah.
They moved to Foxborough and they built their stadium out there like a year or less.
Yeah.
And they stayed there for a couple of decades prior to Gillette Stadium. But they have rewarded the fans, Charlton, with 5 Super Bowl trophies in 9 appearances. So this is an organization that has stayed there and developed. You talk about the Boston Bruins, one of the original 6 in the NHL, and have multiple championships, Stanley Cup championships.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics, we know of this storied history, 11 championships on the red armband. You know, Bill Russell ran out of ring fingers.
Yeah.
And so when you think about these players and fans that have been there with each other over the decades, Charlton, that have enjoyed the luster of winning. And then we look at some of these not so old markets.
Yeah.
Teams are moving all the time, Charlton, where, you know, it's about the dollar for the owner, not the fans that you leave behind. Look at the Rams. The Rams have moved, you know, from Los Angeles to St. Louis, back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The Chargers moved from Los Angeles to San Diego, now back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You got the Raiders, been Oakland, Los Angeles, Oakland, now going to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So, Charlton, when you look at these organizations and you talk about fan loyalty, how can a fan be loyal? You know, we think about the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They were originally the Cleveland Browns, left in the middle of the night, such as the Indianapolis Colts when they left Baltimore.
Yeah.
So, if an owner can be selfish, Charlton, why can't the players be selfish?
I agree.
Why can't the leagues allow the players to say, okay, I don't want to play here anymore. I don't want to play out my contract.
Yeah.
I just want to leave.
Well,
Allow me to leave with 2 years, 3 years left on my contract because I want to go play for this organization. I was looking at what Lorenzo Charles said, Charlton.
Yeah.
The former Kansas City Chief running back who just signed with the Denver Broncos yesterday.
Yeah.
Saying that he always wanted to play for the Denver Broncos. 9-year NFL veteran. Has always had dreams of playing for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Now, you think about it. When you're in the early part of your career, all of a sudden you decide, I don't want to play for this team anymore. I want to go here. Think about how many players in the NBA, I mean, not the NBA, but the NFL.
Yeah, NFL.
For the New England Patriots, okay, Charlton? This organization that is built on winning and discipline. You would have to say 60 to 70% of the NFL players would want to play for that team.
Oh, yeah.
You look around the NBA, what player would not want to play with the Golden State Warriors or the Cleveland Cavaliers right now, as far as those teams are structured? You don't have players dying to get to the Los Angeles Lakers because they've been open for a long time.
Yeah.
You don't have players dying to get to the New York Knicks because they understand how those two organizations have been around the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you gave players the options in professional sports, think about how many players would want to go play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because of their storied history, Charlton. You know, even the Giants have passed every odd year, everybody will go load up with the Giants.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, why can't players have the same options in professional sports that owners have? When I am no longer satisfied with this agreement that I have here with you, that I'm allowed to move out to the next suitor who is offering me more without any backlash.
Well,
but, you know,
yeah.
Why do the leagues allow owners to do that? Mark Davis, you know, he's making this move with the Raiders, Charlton, because he wanted to.
Money, yeah.
The Spanos made the move with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to, okay?
Yeah.
So when we look at these moves that the professional teams can make the organization, and then you say that the player, the reason why you're making the money, does not have the same autonomy that you do to move about freely because he's your property.
Yeah.
Isn't the team the property of the city?
You would think so.
Providing a place for them to stay?
Yeah, you would think so, Big C. And that's a thing that it kind of hit the heart because I've attended so many games over in the Coliseum complex, you know, from the Raiders to the A's and Golden State, and worked in all those facilities in media, Big C. Even as a fan, it's just a shame to see what's happening where they're taking off and going elsewhere. But the final thing I want to bring up on today's program, Big C, them good old boys down south in the state of Texas where it's very hot, Big C. I don't know if moonshine can be on ice in Texas because it's so hot down there, but San Antonio and Houston, I thought Houston would win this series in 6 games. I might be wrong, but I just want to get your thoughts because San Antonio, they played without any teeth, any fight in their first game. Even Coach Pop was asking people to interview as opposed to giving one-liners, Big C. Your thoughts on that series, Houston and them good old boys in San Antonio, Big C?
Well, San Antonio looked like they got old in a hurry.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They might as well go out and order some Geritol. A team with one superstar.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I mean, Tony Parker is not the guy he was 10 years ago.
No.
But that's just not going to come back. Mono Ginobili is not the player he was 14 years ago, Charlton. You know, that enthusiasm and those, youthful legs are just not there. Marcus Aldridge, I mean, this guy has more fouls than he has baskets in the playoffs. So, this is what you're looking at with this team right now. This is a team that lacks motivation and energy for some reason.
Yeah.
Pop, has been known as a master motivator, for the last 20 years in the NBA. But for some reason, he's not been able to get that will out of the team that he has right now.
Yeah.
They look like a defeated team in game one. When you're a professional athlete, even a college athlete,
yeah,
you have to have the belief that you will win.
Yeah.
You just can't walk in and say, look, we're looking to play a good game, a steady game. That's a BS lie when reporters are saying stuff like that, because these reporters have never played.
Yeah.
When you walk into an arena as a professional athlete, you have to believe that you can win. I look at the Toronto series with Cleveland. Toronto doesn't feel that they can beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
They honestly don't.
Yeah.
And you can see that in their eyes. And I feel the same way about Utah last night. They didn't feel that they could beat Golden State. They wanted to be competitive.
Yeah.
But they don't feel that they can beat them.
Yeah.
And I saw that same look on the bench in San Antonio in game one. And they're like, wow, we just don't have what we used to have. There's no fear factor.
Big C, didn't it remind you of Mike Tyson back in the day when guys knew they were going to fight Mike Tyson, was it Michael Spinks fought him? He knew he couldn't beat him, but he wanted that paycheck so bad he went there and took a butt whipping, Big C. Is that what it looked like when teams are playing Golden State, Big C?
And Mike was very adamant about that. Spinks is that he knew he could not beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But he also knew he wasn't going to get hurt by Mike Tyson. The minute Mike Tyson put some shots on it, it was like no need in standing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just go ahead on and lay down and see that the check is gone.
It reminds me of Richard Pryor had a skit. He said, he was strong in his shape when he got in the ring and fought this guy, but his legs were too strong to fall down. And his legs said, why make us look bad? We're in shape. But he was saying, please fall, but his legs wouldn't let him fall down. He was getting beat up so bad in the ring. Big C, as we close out, we talked about a lot of good things. I do want to say on a serious note that law enforcement, when they stop an African American, every 1 out of 4 is getting pulled over within a year's time. That's just a stat. For white Americans, only 1 out of 17. Just some advice to you good old boys from my lawyer. If you happen to be African American, when you're getting pulled over, just put your phone on the seat and call 911 so the stop is recorded. So that racial profiling garbage that they usually lie about, it'll be recorded by law enforcement. That comes from my attorney. That'll help crack down on this misgivings that a lot of bad officers do. There's a lot of good ones, but for the bad ones, their attention's a little bit different when they know they're being recorded on a 911 call. So when you're getting pulled over, put your phone in your seat. Don't make it in your hand. They might say it's a gun. Put the phone in your seat, call 911, and let the call be recorded by law enforcement. That would cut down on some of the brutality that's still going on in our country. Big C, and our final thoughts, we'll let you close out. Isaiah Thomas, the #1 sports guy, the Universe Award from Big C Sports. What's your thought and what you're looking forward to, Big C? Go right ahead, sir.
Well, Jonathan, I would like to see San Antonio come up with a little bit of motivation tonight.
Yeah.
To make this series just a bit competitive. When I go across the other direction to the East Coast, Charlton, I see Cleveland going up 2-0, Charlton. That's just not been the life in Toronto that you would expect to see from a playoff team.
Yeah.
And I expect for them to go back up north across the border. They're playing like you sing the national anthem.
Are you saying I should sing it more, Big C? Is that what I should do? Should I sing it more, Big C?
And I look at game 3 of this Boston, Orioles series tonight, Charlton.
Yeah.
What type of antics will occur in that game?
Yeah.
And hopefully nobody gets injured from baseball. I'm looking for the Predators out in Nashville to go up 3-1 in this series. And what would the NHL be if the Predators won the Stanley Cup, Charlton?
Yeah.
It would probably be about a day and a half celebration. Then it would go back to normal, because we're talking about a team winning the the
Yeah.
Reds are
Yeah.
one of those teams in Canada, even Chicago, Boston, and Pittsburgh, when they've won the Stanley Cup, the ticker tape fanfare. There's a different level of excitement depending on the region that you're in. But, nevertheless, Charlton, sports are very competitive right now with the playoffs going on. Everything is all exciting, and look forward to a different game every night, Charlton.
Well, Big C, I love the way you close it out. Isaiah Thomas is the number one basketball player in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys. I want to say every Monday through Friday, follow Big C Sports on the iHeart Radio Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say every program, we always tell you there's never any excuse for any man striking a woman. We have to end domestic violence. Just treat it as if someone's hitting on you and call 911 for the woman. Don't let her get in trouble by some man who's too coward to even not just walk away. And we always want to tell you on every program for following Big C Sports, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.